Hi guys, this is Nurse Marcel coming back to you with another video. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share this video if you want to share this video. I'm coming back to you guys with a video basically just about me. I get questions about am I single, why I'm single, why don't I have a boyfriend, this, that, and the third, all this stuff. And I'm just gonna clear the air and just explain to you guys why I'm single, what I'm looking for in a guy, etc., etc. So yes, I am single. I'm 31 years old. I have not been in many relationships. Let's just clear the air on that. I have not been in many relationships. I have been married. I was married for about 7 years. I got married when I was 22 years old. And I was very young, and I didn't know much about myself at 22 years old, rather than now at 31. I know everything about me. I know what I like, I know what I don't like, I know what I want in a guy, I know what I don't want in a guy. But back then I really didn't know what I wanted. And I got married, and the marriage ended because of me. I take 100% accountability for that. I just wasn't ready. And at the time, as the marriage kept progressing, I was just like, is this person really the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with? Like, this is the only guy I'm going to be with forever and ever. And I didn't look at it 22. Like, it started happening 26, 27. I started really thinking about it, and it just wasn't for me. Sometimes things are not just for you, and you have to know, because later on down the line, I really thought like I would have been miserable. I would have been married in a marriage, and he was a wonderful guy, great provider. He, did what he had to do, but he just wasn't for me. It was just some things that I knew that I wanted as a wife, as a woman, and he just couldn't do it for me. And that happens more often than not, and it's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you just have to walk away from things and take whatever lessons that you've learned from that situation, and sometimes learn from it, sometimes understand it. Sometimes you take things that you learn from that situation and bring it to another situation, positive of course. And and I just, it is what it is. And so today he's married. He's a marrying type of guy. He's married to another woman. I'm very happy for him, and I wish them nothing but the best. But for me, he just wasn't the guy for me, and I wasn't gonna fake something, even though we could have made it work. But I wasn't gonna fake anything just to be married. I want to be married to somebody that I love, and that I look up to, that I learn from, that's going to teach me something that I'm going to blossom with. And that's okay if that wasn't that person, because sometimes in life it works and it happens that way, and you just have to keep going on with your life. So that was just one particular relationship that I had that was very long term, and because of that relationship I didn't have many relationships. I was basically in a relationship for basically altogether about 8 years. I want to say 8 or 9 years, because I knew him from 2021. So it happened very fast, and because of that my dating, it got very cut off. I'm sorry, I'm outside. Literally a helicopter, literally like flying over. So yes, I'm sorry for the interruption. Literally a helicopter flying over me. This is what happens when you live in New York City. But anyways, like I was saying, so it is what it is. So that chapter of my life is over, and I feel really good about myself. I feel good because I had that experience. I was a married woman before, and I feel like if I ever get married again, it will be so dope. Because being married in your 20s, let me tell you something, I was like doing a lot of stuff in my 20s that I should not have been doing. I should have been going out. I should have been enjoying my 20s, dating different guys, but I wasn't. I was more, being at home, take care of my daughter, being a wife, cooking, cleaning, supporting my husband. I was doing all this at 24, 25, 23. And I do not recommend this. I have a whole daughter, and I would not recommend my daughter to get married before the age of 28. I would not. I want her to, enjoy her 20s. Enjoy your youth, your teens, your 20s. Don't have no babies. Do not get married. Just enjoy, because you want to know yourself as a woman. You want to know what you like, what you don't like. So when a man approach you, when you're in that relationship, you won't be confused, because that's exactly what I was in my 20s. I was married, but I was confused as hell. So just a mental note, just to jot it down: do not get married before you're 28. And if you do get married before you're 28, make sure you know yourself. That means that you had all your fun, basically teens, early 20s, and now you're ready to settle down. That's what basically you're telling me. I don't advise that, but hey, do as you please. But before 28, that's a no-no, and that's something that I learned. So yes, I haven't been in a lot of relationships. After him, after that relationship, I was in another relationship, but I already knew, people know, you could say it's wasting time, but authentically if something is going to last or not. Men know, because men know what they want and what they're going to do with that female. Once they look at that female, it's either that's his wife, that's the jump off for the night, that's the jump off for the 6 months, or he going to play around with her. Men is very, very direct. They're not going to tell you. The woman would never know. That's for the woman. That's why a woman has to be more smart and to read the signs and see his body language, his closure. Like I always say to the ladies, open your ears and close your mouth and see what he wants, because men already know. So I already knew what I wanted, and I knew that it wasn't him. Sorry, it was a B. I knew that it wasn't him, but I guess maybe a rebound. That's what you guys want to call it. That's what you guys call it, a rebound. I guess it was a rebound situation, and I was just playing the field. We were just kicking it or whatever, but I just knew it just wasn't gonna go anywhere, and it was just all over the place. But I gained a really, really good friend from it. We are really, really cool to this day. He's my best friend, and I know that sounds cliche, I know that sounds but authentically, really, hands down, it's no funny business. It's really a best friend situation, because not all the time people are fit to be together. Sometimes you realize okay, this person is definitely not for me, but a friendship will be very, 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 very good, and it's nothing wrong with that as long as you're true to yourself. You don't want to sit there and be oh, we're not fit to be together, but I'ma still smash. You can't do that. You can't, because then that's when it gets messy. You have to be mature adults and be you know what, this is not working out, but we could be very, very good friends, because at the end of the day, you always need somebody, and it doesn't matter if it's somebody who you used to mess with, or if it's somebody that you never mess with and you're just friends. You always need somebody for that shoulder, or for advice, or you always need a helping hand. And that's what I always think about. I don't rush and think every guy is gonna be my man, or every guy is my husband, because every guy is not your husband. Every guy is not your man. Every woman is not your wife. Every woman is not your man. Every woman is not somebody who you just lay down in bed with. Not that neither. Sometimes some people could be really, really good friends. So yeah, that situation, I was okay, whatever. And through all these situations, through all these nicks, I've never sat there and been I'm in love with this person. Now, we all know that love and in love is two totally different things. I love dogs. I love my mom. I love my dad. I love my daughter dearly. But when you're in love with somebody, we all know that it's a whole different situation. You only see them. You only want to be with them. You live and you breathe them. Basically, they are the person that you see forever with. And I've never been there with anyone, surprisingly. So I know a lot of you are going to say, but you was married for this amount of years. I was not in love. I loved him dearly. Me and him was really, really cool. Like, we really, really had a strong bond. But I wouldn't say I was in love with him, because of the simple fact that I didn't see forever with him. I didn't see him as like, I could love him forever. I can be with him forever. This is the guy that, that gonna break all barriers. This is the guy that, it wasn't like that. The love was there. It was genuine. I cared about him, but I wasn't in love with him. And sometimes that happens. People make babies with people that they're not even in love with. So it happens all the time. This world is crazy, and it took me to get older to realize that just because you love somebody don't mean that you're in love with them. And I already knew that, during a relationship, I knew okay, no, I'm not in love with you. Like, I didn't say it, but I knew it within my heart. And I never really, those words never, ever came out my mouth like, I'm in love with you. But the next situation that I had is, I'm trying to be very broad with my situations without giving too much up. But the next situation I had was totally different. Totally different. This guy was totally a different guy. So I have never dealt with anybody in a gang. I've never dealt with anybody who sold drugs or was in the streets or anything. Never in my life. Out of my 31 years, never. Everybody I dealt with, they was either working, they went to church, they this, they that. My husband, his family, they was always in the church. So I never dealt with anybody like that. But my next situation, Lord behold, I dealt with somebody like that. I dealt with somebody, he was a street nigga, street guy. Let me properly say that. And he lived that life. And it was very different for me, because it was very intriguing, because I've never dealt with anybody like that. It was okay, wow, ooh. And I always second guess myself. I was like, should I be doing this? Is this right? And as the situation, I wouldn't call it a relationship. As the situation kept going and started getting fiery and started heating up and started sizzling, honey child, I was just okay, I really like this guy. And I don't even care what he does. I don't care what he did, what he's doing. I just like him for him. And it was just so crazy. It was just, I was acting like a little girl. I felt like I should have went through that younger. And I haven't. I felt like I'm going through this at 31 years old. And it was just so intriguing to me. It was my heart would flutter. I would pull back so many times. I wouldn't try to pull forward. It was just crazy. I was just going crazy. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? What is going on with me? So I had to sit down, and I literally did some research. I literally went on the internet. It was what does it mean to fall in love? What does it mean to be in love? And I looked and I searched and I searched and I looked. And it was just when you're in love, when you keep thinking about somebody. When you're in love, when you around them, you get butterflies, and you could just stare at them all day, or you could just be with them and not do anything, or you just get upset because you didn't hear from them, or you get upset. It was just so many different reasons on how do you know when you've fallen in love. And I was just so in denial. Up till today, I am still in denial. Hands down, I still would say I was not in love with the guy. And all my friends, everybody, because everyone knows about him. I'll talk about him. Everyone knows about him. And they would say, you in love with that boy, you love him, you in love with him. I'd be like, I love him, but am I really in love with him? And I think for me to take that leap into being in love, I want to make sure that it's right. So I want to experience it, but I want to make sure that it's right. And that's one of the reasons why I'm single right now, because I know for me, when I really love somebody, I give them everything. I give them my all, my time, my attention. I'm a very loyal woman. And that's another thing that was wrong with me in that situation, because I was very loyal. Very loyal. And It was a situation. It was a situation. It wasn't even the type, like, I mean, that's my point of view about it. I can't say what his thoughts was, but my thoughts was it was just like a situation. So it was like, I'm being loyal. Is he being loyal back to me? I'm not sleeping with no other guys. I'm not trying to be with nobody, with no other guys exclusively. I'm not trying to, it just was all about him. But that's why I'm single. I feel like I can give so much, and I want to give it to the right guy. So these are some things that I really, really, really find very, very important to me. And if I'm talking to a guy, or if I'm trying to see if we could get into a relationship, consistency is number one. You have to be consistent with me. If you're not consistent with me, you get the boot. 1, 2, 3. I understand people have jobs, lives, businesses, kids, whatever, but you have to be consistent with me. Consistency is the key for me. If you're not, then you're not for me. You're literally for the streets, and that's why I'm gonna leave you at. Point blank in the period. I love honesty because I want you to be honest with me. We grown. We is grown. And I feel like it's no need to lie to me. It's no need to tell me a story. Just tell me what it is. Let me decide. And that's what a lot of you guys need to understand, gentlemen, is let a woman decide what she wants to do. Let her have the choice, because you never know what she's willing to go through with you. You never know. So just be straight up with her. Just let her know what it is, what you want, how you want it, and then you'll get your answer. You'll probably be surprised, because sometimes women really be with the shit. They really be with it. So if you want to hide and ride and do this and do that and keep secrets and not say nothing and be sneaky, of course we're going to get turned off. Of course we're going to be looking at you like we don't want you or no thank you. Just be honest. Trust. I want you to trust me. You want me to trust you. I'm very, very simple. I'm a very, very simple girl. All of these lists that I have is very simple. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing that's going to be too overwhelming with the guy. Like, I don't need your money. I don't need big vacations. You don't have to dine and do all of these things with me. I mean, I like it, yes. And my last situation, he spoiled me. So now the expectations is really, really high. And I'm not talking about just spoiling me with money. I'm not talking about just spoiling me with like gifts or like restaurants or like, the materialistic stuff. That did happen. But also it was more of the emotional side. And maybe it was gaslighting, I don't know, but it was more the emotional side, how he always said he loved me, how he always was very, very emotional. He was very, very in tune with his feelings. I feel like sometimes he will hold back because he didn't want to be too broad in, that spectrum, because like I said, I'm not easy to deal with. And he probably was thinking like, I'm not too sure about this girl. Was she, I could be very, very difficult at times. I get it. I understand it. Because sometimes I could be very, very emotionally unavailable. And when I say that, I mean like I hold my feelings back. My guard is all the way up. My guard is already up regardless. So it's like my guard is all the way up. And I'm very, very secure with my feelings. I'm a very, very serious person. And when it comes to relationships, when it comes to somebody I'm talking to, and I can hold back a lot. And that's not from past experiences. That's just from me being me. Me being Marcel, I'm just like that. And I actually like being like that. It could be a blessing and it could be a curse, because I could really be blocking who, wants to come into my life and who really wants to make a difference and really wants to be with me. But to sum it all off, the last relationship, why it didn't work out, because I know you guys is like, oh my gosh, you felt this much about this person and why didn't it last? It didn't last because of consistency. Like, I am like a major person on that, and it was just so much, it was just so, everything else was perfect. Trust me, he was a sweetheart, and and everything, but it was just the consistency for me. So you have to be consistent. That's number one for me. Don't say we're gonna do something and we don't say I'm gonna see you and I don't. It's just, especially if it's a repeated pattern, I do not play that. I am very, very strict when it comes to certain things about myself. I love myself, I value myself, and I'm not gonna be nobody's doormat. I'm not. It doesn't matter how much I love you. It doesn't matter how much, you know, deep inside I know I can't live without you, whatever. I'm walking away. I'm walking away, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's not meant to be, that's okay. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. But yeah, I'm single, and I'm not looking, I'm not gonna rush into a relationship with anybody. I'm not gonna sit there and I'm not gonna just get a man just to have a man, just to say I have a boyfriend, because it's so easy for a woman to get a man. It's so easy for somebody to get a boyfriend, but it's not easy for somebody to love themselves and be by themselves and actually love up on themselves and be that person that they need to be for themselves first. Like, I don't need anybody as a crutch. I don't need anybody to get over my last situation. I got to get somebody else for because I need to get over him. Or I don't need that. What I need is self-love, and it's very, very important. And men do it all the time. What men do is they'll be so in love with a girl, and then they'll dump a girl, or they'll break up, and then they'll be under another one. And that's not how you do it, fellas. That's not how you do it. That's not. When you break, because you're still gonna have feelings. You're still gonna have feelings for this girl. You're still gonna love her. You're still gonna want to go back to her. That's not how you do it. How you do it, you love up on yourself. You give yourself time. You play with Angela if you need to. You give yourself 6 months. 6 months. Give yourself 6 months cleanse. You got a relationship. You really, really love the girl. Whatever the case may be, just chill out. Just chill out from dating. You could be chill. Not to say you can't talk to nobody, but you don't gotta run to the next girl, because you're still gonna feel the same feelings. Men do it all the time. I don't know how y'all do it, because even though somebody else could distract you, it's still gonna be in your mind. It's still gonna be, especially if you really love the girl, it's still gonna be in your mind. She's still gonna be in your heart. You haven't healed. You gotta heal yourself. And then it's not fair to the next girl, because now that situation don't work out. She's a really, really nice girl, but it don't work out because you're still stuck on that girl, because you didn't give yourself time to heal properly. And you have to, it's very, very important. Self-love is very, very, very important. And men are really scared to be alone. You see a lot of women are alone because women can handle being alone. Men cannot handle being alone. So we gotta do better, fellas. I want better for my fellas. I want y'all to do self-love. I want you guys to have fun with the fellas and not worry about having a girlfriend or having somebody sleeping with you in a bed or having somebody by your side. Just worry about you, king, and all the rest before